Security policy can be defined as an overall general statement produced by senior management or a selected policy board or committee that dictates the role of security within the organization. Building a good security policy lays foundation for the successful implementation of security-related projects in the future. This is an important measure to reduce the risk of unacceptable use of any of the company's information resources. The first step towards enhancing a company's security is the introduction of a precise yet enforceable security policy, informing staff on the various aspects of their responsibilities, general use of company resources, and explaining how to handle sensitive information. The policy will also describe the meaning of acceptable use, as well as list prohibited activities. An effective policy should be generic, non-technical, and easily understood by everyone. It should provide a mission statement for security and should represent the business objectives. It should be developed to integrate security into all business functions and processes. As the company changes over a period, the security policy should be reviewed and modified accordingly. Like any other important document, it is very essential that it should be dated and version controlled. Finally, the policy should be forward-thinking, which means it should support vision and mission of the organization. Types of security policies will be covered in the next screen. Security policies may be different types, depending on the specific need for policy. Different security policies work together to meet the objectives of a comprehensive security program. They are regulatory, advisory, and informative. Regulatory policy ensures that the organization is following the standards set by industry-specific regulations. These policies are security policies that an organization must implement based on compliance, regulation, or other legal requirements. These companies might be financial institutions, public utilities, or other type of organizations that operates in public interest. These policies are usually very detailed and are specific to the industry in which the organization operates. Examples are HIPPA, PCI-DSS, etc. Advisory policy strongly advises the employees or users on the type of behaviors and activities to be followed within the organization. These policies are not mandatory, however, are strongly suggested. Noncompliance may lead to serious consequences, such as termination or a job action warning. For example, policy for handling medical or personal information. Informative policies are the policies that exist simply to inform the reader. There are no implied or specified requirements, and the audience for this information could be certain internal, that is, within the organization, or external parties. For example, policy explaining the goals and mission of an organization. Let us learn about security policy implementation in this screen. Policies are typically propagated through official written documents. Policy documents often come with the endorsement or signature of the executive powers within an organization. Such documents often have standard formats that are particular to the organization issuing the policy. While such formats differ in form, policy documents should have the following objectives when writing policy, such as writing purpose statement, fixing responsibility, setting policy objectives, providing resources provision, staff allocation, and use of guidelines and standards for implementation. All policies should contain the basic elements, such as purpose, scope, responsibilities, and compliance. Purpose describes the need for the policy, typically to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. Scope describes the systems, people, facilities, and organizations that are covered by the policy. Any related entities that are not in scope should be documented to avoid confusion. Responsibilities include those of the information security staff and policy and management teams, as well as those of all members of the organization. Compliance describes two related issues: how to judge the effectiveness of the policies and what happens when a policy is violated. Few guidelines for policy creation include assigning a principal function to be responsible for control. Compliance with policy is a condition of employment. Keep the policy document brief and avoid exceeding 2 pages. Use generic terms which can be understood by everyone. Management responsibilities for policy include protecting resource assets within their control, ensuring employees know their duty to protect company assets, implementing security in accordance with company policy, initiating corrective actions for security violations. Few best practices for policy enforcement are avoiding errors that can lead to legal challenges, avoiding writing policies that can lead to general noncompliance, and ensuring compliance with policy.